Hey folks, it's Declan Kenyon with the Transition Living Real Estate team. I'm here with my partner Carra Riley, and welcome to our weekly transition tip. Today we're going to talk about how to eliminate risk during a move. So how does one do that when selling the property and not having a place to go? The question we got to ask ourselves is, how do we eliminate this? We have to think about a timeline, and what we do, how we do that is with a contingency. Carra is going to talk a little bit more in depth about that a little bit later. But the next question I'll ask here is, where do I want to move? Before, in a previous episode where we've talked about attached versus detached, that's going to be our condos and townhomes versus our single family residences. And for our vintage players out there, maybe something to consider is a 55 plus active living community. It really depends on where you're at in your life. And we have to really think about our timeline here. And I'll hand it off to Carra to talk a little bit more about contingencies.
Well, thank you, Declan. And it's fun being a vintage player and living in an active adult community. We have great things to do, so many clubs. Anyway, as people are deciding they are going to make a move, and if they have a home, whether it's your first home or whether it's your third home, if you're going to be moving either up or down, there's a sell and a buy included, and we have the same contingency in each document. You have a listing agreement that says you're going to sell your house, and we're going to put this contingency in there for you. This contract is expressly conditional upon the seller contracting and closing on a new home. Closing and possession must coincide and be concurrent, or the contract is null and void. You see, this protects you, takes away the risk of selling your house. We do know that you're going to be going through some separation anxiety as you leave the house you've been in, because you have wonderful memories there. And that's what we at the Transition Living Real Estate team really understand and respect, that it does take time. So whether you're thinking about selling now, whether you're thinking about selling a year from now or 5 years from now, we're here to help you make that move with no risk. Then when you're buying, you'll have a buyer agency agreement, which says that it is also contingent, that this contract is expressly conditional upon the purchaser successfully closing on 123 Main Street. Closing and possession must coincide and be concurrent, or the contract is null and void. So what we'll do is coordinate both the buying and the selling so that you have the right number of days and are never out in the cold or wondering where your things are going to go. So Declan's going to explain about the possession contingencies and possession after closing.
Yeah, thank you, Carra. And like we said, it's all about managing risk. And towards the end of the transaction, that's no different. So as far as coordinating the closing's possession, typically the way we do this is with a post-occupancy agreement. So during the day of closing, well, we'll figure this out beforehand, but we'll get this document, a post-occupancy agreement, that states closing day is right here, closing day X. After so many days, whatever is mutually agreed upon between both parties, and typically we can come to an agreement on that. After X amount of days after closing, you can have possession. This really helps you really coordinate about how long it's going to take to move and get settled and get everything packed up and ready to go. It's all about eliminating risk and making sure you have enough time so you have breathing room and white space, as Carra and I say. So this is the last step as far as eliminating risk. And well, thank you folks for reviewing our weekly transition tip. Subscribe to our transition tips, and you can get them once a week in your inbox. When you join us, you will receive a free PDF on transition tips. We'll see you next week.